committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. A ship bound for Barbados was turned away because 2 people on board showed symptoms of the deadly Ebola virus. This revelation from Tourism Minister Richard Seeley. He adds that the island will continue to rely on strict monitoring measures at the ports of entry instead of banning people from the most affected countries. The minister was wrapping up parliamentary debate on an amendment to the Tourism Development Act last night. Ryan Broom reports.
Mr. Seeley says government is determined to ensure that Barbados remains Ebola-free. He says a committee has been established and protocols developed to deal with the situation. The minister adds that this has been done because government acknowledges that Ebola poses a serious threat. He points out that there have been regular consultations with health and security officials, as well as discussions with members of the opposition. Regarding the ship that was turned away, Minister Seeley says port officials, immigration, and other authorities made the decision after considering all of the protocols in place. The ship was one of 5 regularly scheduled cargo vessels slated to arrive at the port last Wednesday, October 15th.
And I dare say the systems are working. There was a tanker, a Noble Spirit, that when the protocols were tested, was actually denied entry into Barbados waters. There were 2 persons on board who had symptoms that were deemed to be Ebola-like.
The minister also says, unlike the choice made by some Caribbean neighbors, Barbados is sticking to its decision not to institute a travel ban on nationals from Ebola-stricken West African countries like Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea.
We have, of course, decided to take a very measured, sensible approach to this situation. And what we have done is, of course, put the various parties together and to come up with the appropriate protocols. A travel ban, I've noticed some of our neighbors have gone that route. We have decided not to go that route. That is a bit extremist and not at all sensible thinking. Because if you start, how do you stop? If you go and identify 3 countries in West Africa where there are Ebola cases and ban travel from there, what happens when you have a couple of cases in the United Kingdom? Are we going to shut down the UK source market and ban travel from there too?
Meanwhile, chairman of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Alex MacDonald, says the association backs the decision by health authorities on the best approach to deal with Ebola.
The institutions in our island have to be able to make decisions based on the information they have. We cannot, I don't think that we are in a position as a private sector association to question or not the decision of an institution based on information that we do not have. Everybody has a personal view, a personal opinion on should they not, look at who's doing it, look at who's not. But I don't think that our government sits down and makes an arbitrary decision based on no information.
Ryan Broom, CBC News.
Well, during last evening's parliamentary debate, we also learned that the International Monetary Fund's Fiscal Affairs Department has undertaken a comprehensive review of the Barbados government's tax policy. And Finance Minister Chris Sinclair says that report, which is now in the hands of government, will soon be submitted to all stakeholders, including the opposition.
That report looked at all aspects of tourism: income tax, corporation tax, VAT, excise tax, land tax, or property taxes, all of them, Mr. Speaker, sir. And therefore, we expect to see all of the brilliant ideas on taxation from the opposition and suggestions coming forward to the government. I'm not holding my breath though, but I expect to see them coming out, and particularly on trade policy.
Opposition MP Cynthia Ford says the 600 jobs provided by Sandals are only making up for the ones lost at Ammon Beach Resort when it closed its doors 2 years ago. In her contribution to yesterday's debate, she, however, expressed gratitude that Barbadians should soon find employment again. But Ms. Ford wants government to ensure that it is Barbadians who get the jobs.
And I believe that we would want to see more jobs being generated beyond those 600, and that Barbadians will be the ones that will get those jobs. Our people are highly trained, and I do not see why any immigration department should be looking over any requests for persons to come down as this chef and the next chef and the third, unless you're talking somebody who is specializing in Indian cuisine and Italian and so on. Our Barbadians go all over the world, and they are acknowledged for their skill, expertise, and commitment to what they are doing.
Government is being encouraged not to throw all of its eggs into one basket as it tries to emerge from the current recession. The advice from MP for St. Michael West Central, James Paul. He believes while tourism will lead the way, sectors like agriculture will play a very important part in the revival of the economy.
We must begin to treat each sector in this country as being important. Important enough to give the legislative haste that is required. And our legislators, we need to start to look at that, because it has been proven that we cannot continue to rely on one sector to push this economy. It will just not be able to deliver the goods. But unless we equip the other sectors to be able to do what needs to be done, we would have failed in the long run.
Lawmen are carrying out investigations into an incident at Spruce Street, Nelson Street, the city this afternoon. Acting Assistant Superintendent David Welch says it was around 1:30 when two armed men reportedly entered a house in the area. He said no one was injured and police were called to the scene. The police PRO said lawmen are also investigating reports of gunshots being fired in close proximity to the same residence. He said police are making significant progress in getting to the bottom of the incidents. More news ahead in just a moment, but first, we want to hear from you on this question. Do you believe Barbados made the right decision to turn away the ship with persons on board showing signs of Ebola? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. We will have the results at the end of the news.
Chikungunya fever is transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito. To prevent mosquito breeding, check your premises inside and outside on a weekly basis for any collections of water that will likely breed mosquitoes. These can include buckets, drums, tires, underground and above water storage tanks, and other containers, such as block holes, animal watering containers, and tarpaulins. Remember, let's keep chikungunya at bay.
What's it all?
Sing some samples.
Cool. I could hardly sleep. Download, upload, Snapchat, tweet. Back to them, you know I'm true to that. Girl told me she can't wait, can't take Beijing directions. I gotta use Google Maps. What I need to know, I just Googled that. Did you sell data plan? Got my data. Did you sell data for life? Data for life. Data for life, yeah.
Data for life.
A spanking new library for the children of St. Lawrence Primary School. It was made possible by the Sandals Foundation, which has equipped the library with hard and digital copies of books, air conditioning, and computers worth thousands of dollars. Peter Thorne reports.
After 3 years of trying, St. Lawrence Primary now has its own library, and it's a state-of-the-art facility. And from all indications, the children simply love it and are adhering to the message that reading is fundamental. Principal of the school for the past 5 years, Gloria Bryan, says it's a dream come true. She's lauded Sandals for reaching out to the children and the community.
I know have a spacious, attractive, air-conditioned life, conducive to reading. And I think that if you can't read, when you get up there, you will read. Equipped with computers. Words cannot express my gratitude to Sandals Barbados for providing my students with another avenue to enhance their reading ability.
District Education Officer Shamin Ali says Sandals has created an opportunity for the children to read daily and they should treasure it.
That is what Sandals did here today. They planted a seed
And that is a seed of knowledge for you. It is your task, children. It is your task to take care of those books, use them, because the fruit that will be born from that library will serve this country in good stead in years to come.
General Manager of Sandals Barbados, Joseph Zellner, says knowledge is essential for children as it provides the foundation for them to grow up to be productive citizens.
Reading is fundamental. We just believe in that. Yeah, education is very, very important. It always determines where we go based on what we know. And how do we know things? We have teachers who teach us things, but we also have to do our own researches, and there's a lot of literature out there. We have to be able to read. We have to be able to read and to write. That is a combination. That is how we will be able to learn.
The St. Lawrence Primary School has a roll call of 240 students and 22 staff. Peter Thorne, CBC News.
Local educators are being exposed to a multimedia production designed to enhance their teaching skills. The initiative comes from Ministry of Education, Science, Technology and Innovation. It's part of Celebrations for Education Month. Media Resource Officer Charmaine Seal says the showcase will be beneficial for teachers and students.
This showcase has been organized as part of the Education Month celebrations, and the Media Resource Department is highlighting the indigenous productions which complement teaching and learning. The productions include animations, informational DVDs, and audio cassettes. Now, we have interactive productions also that teachers can run on the interactive smart boards which are in the classroom.
Ms. Seal adds that the feedback so far has been encouraging.
The response to the exhibit has been good. Persons would have come in, they would have highlighted the fact that we should have run the exhibit for a longer period of time, which we are now doing. The exhibit actually ends on Friday, so it starts at 10 o'clock and goes until 5 p.m. in the evening.
Efforts are being made to improve energy efficiency at the University of the West Indies Cayfield campus. And so the campus has received a natural gas-powered 2008 Nissan car donated by Courtesy Garage Limited. Director of Courtesy Garage, Patrick MacDonald, says the campus should aim to save energy in these times of economic hardships.
I hope that the UWI Cayfield campus has a strategy in place to reduce its energy use and costs. This will become very necessary as financial pressure persists. We therefore expect that this vehicle will fit into that strategy. We expect the UWI to continue its work in helping Barbados achieve energy efficiencies and cost reduction through research and development in the Departments of Science and Technology.
Well, Acting Permanent Secretary in the Division of Energy and Telecommunications, Jeho Wiltshire, says the reduction of environmental risk can only be successful if the private and public sectors join hands.
We do recognize that if we are going to continue to make Barbados an advanced green economy and to make the country of Barbados one of the more progressive countries in the world in terms of the utilization of clean and sustainable energy, we have to recognize that all players in this country have to make a contribution in this regard. The government, the public sector, and civil society.
The contribution of Barbadians to the engineering wonder that is the Panama Canal is one that should never be forgotten. This reminder from Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Senator Harry Husbands. He was explaining to students how life was during that time 100 years ago and how it has changed. The forum at the Steel Shed was a discussion entitled Locks and Links, the Barbados-Panama Connection. Senator Husband says the tens of thousands who went in search of opportunities in Panama also left their mark here in Barbados.
So these people, 60,000 of them, went to Panama, endured all the difficulties and all the challenges, but were able to send money back to Barbados. In many cases, as you shall hear in greater detail later, and in many cases when they return, bring with them lots of money that they use in the development of Barbados. And this money, whether it was sent or whether it came back, when they return to Barbados, is what we refer to as Panama money.
Regional news next, but first a reminder that we'd like to hear from you on this question. Do you believe Barbados made the right decision to turn away the ship with persons on board